Welcome and thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. During the Q&A portion of today's call, you may press star 1 on your touch-tone phone if you would like to ask a question. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. Now I'd like to turn the meeting over to your host today, Mr. Lou Rufino. Mr. Rufino, you may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lou Rufino. I'm with EOIR's Office of Legislative and Public Affairs. I'll be moderating the phone call today. And today's webinar and telephone conference will be providing an overview of the Recognition and Accreditation Program run by the Board of Immigration Appeals Office of Clerk. Our presenter today is Christina Burkhart, and she is the RNA Program Coordinator. And as you may be aware, the Recognition and Accreditation Program recognizes organizations to provide immigration services and individuals also to accredit individuals to provide immigration services. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Burkhart. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of the RNA program, I'd like to welcome you to today's presentation. Today's presentation is a basic overview of the RNA application process. My name is Christina Burkhart, and I am the RNA Program Coordinator for the Board of Immigration Appeals. Here with me today is Ms. Cynthia Crosby. She is the Deputy Chief Clerk for the Office of the Clerk, Board of Immigration Appeals. Part of what we do is we do manage the RNA application process here at the Board. Today's presentation will cover the following topics: who we are as an agency, program guidance, what is recognition and accreditation, how to obtain recognition, accreditation requests, types, qualifications, and the renewal process, how to submit your application, the timeline, key elements, the responsibilities of recognized organizations, and resources and contact information. Before explaining the RNA program, it is important to understand what is the Executive Office for Immigration Review, EOIR. EOIR was created in 1983 and is responsible for adjudicating immigration cases. The Board of Immigration Appeals, highlighted in green, is one of 5 major components within EOIR. The Board of Immigration Appeals is an administrative appellate body for interpreting and applying immigration law, and also has jurisdiction over a wide variety of proceedings through appeals filed against decisions made by immigration judges or the District Director of the Department of Homeland Security, and also adjudicates recognition of organizations and accreditation of non-attorneys to practice immigration law. Within the board structure, there is a chairman. There are senior legal advisors under the leadership of the vice chairman. There are attorneys and the Office of the Clerk under the leadership of the Director of Operations. The management of the RNA application process falls under the Office of the Clerk, highlighted in red. The Office of the Clerk manages appellate records and information for the Board, and also administers the RNA program and is responsible for processing RNA applications. There are 820 recognized organizations and 1,400 accredited representatives across the United States who provide immigration services. The Office of the Clerk is responsible for maintaining those records. Federal regulations do specify who may represent an alien in immigration proceedings, and regulations do permit recognized organizations and their accredited reps to represent aliens in immigration proceedings. The RNA program was created by these federal regulations to assure low-income immigrants could obtain at a low cost, high-quality services. So what is a recognized organization? It's a nonprofit, religious, charitable, social service, or similar organization established in the United States. It only charges nominal fees. The board defines nominal as a small quantity. There is no specific dollar amount. It has at its disposal adequate immigration knowledge in order to represent its clients effectively, and they may designate a representative a non-attorney for accreditation, and recognition does not expire. So what is an accredited representative? An accredited representative is a non-attorney who works at a recognized organization. They are either fully or partially accredited, and we'll talk about that a little later. They have broad knowledge of immigration law and procedure, have good moral character, trustworthy and reliable, and also accreditation is only valid for 3 years unless renewed. So how do you obtain recognition? You submit your application on the form EOIR 31 along with supporting documentation. The supporting documentation consists of proof of nonprofit status, a copy of your charter to demonstrate the organization's mission, a detailed list of fees that your organization charges, a list of library content, online resources, financial records that identify sources of income and operating expenses, your organizational chart that shows how you're structured, staff resumes, certificates of training, recommendation letters, and also any agreement you have to consult with other nonprofit organizations or a private attorney in more complicated cases. So unlike recognition, for accreditation, there is no form. In order to submit your application for accreditation, you must submit it on a letter. In your letter, you should indicate who your proposed representative is that you would like to seek accreditation, and also indicate whether your proposed representative is seeking full or partial accreditation. With that said, we understand that it would be helpful to have a form for accreditation, and a new optional accreditation form will be available in the near future. So there are two different types of accreditation. There is full accreditation and partial accreditation. Full accreditation allows the representative to appear before the Department of Homeland Security and the Executive Office for Immigration Review, which consists of the Board of Immigration Appeals and the Immigration Courts. Partial accreditation allows the representative to appear only before the Department of Homeland Security. A majority of our accredited representatives are partially accredited. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the qualifications for full and partial accreditation. They are very similar in that both require a resume, letters of recommendation, whether or not the individual is supervised by an attorney or accredited representative. The board is more confident that the organization will provide knowledgeable representation through technical guidance and oversight of staff when they have the supervision. Training certificates, there is no certain number of hours of training that's required. However, your application is strengthened by a lot of training. So the board does look at the quality of training. They are more confident in training that's provided by the American Bar Association, nonprofit organizations, and recognized organizations. Also, for full accreditation, you must be familiar with immigration law before the Department of Homeland Security and the Executive Office for Immigration Review. For partial accreditation, you must be familiar with the practice of law before the Department of Homeland Security. So the major difference is with full accreditation, you must have skills for effective litigation, which could include going to court, conducting interviews, drafting briefs, motions, or appeals. We went over recognition and accreditation requirements. Remember, recognition does not expire. However, accreditation does expire unless renewed. So important elements to remember about the renewal process is accreditation expires 3 years from the date of the board's approval of the application. It is the responsibility of the recognized organization to seek renewal of the accredited representative. The renewal application must be submitted 60 days prior to the expiration date. And the requirements for a renewal of accreditation are similar to the initial application, with that you need to submit updated material, for example, an updated resume, any additional trainings that you've taken as well. Where do you send your application? You send it to the RNA Program Coordinator located in Falls Church, Virginia. An application must always include proof of service showing that you sent a copy to 2 DHS components, District Director for USCIS and the Chief Counsel for ICE. What happens once the Office of the Clerk receives your application? We send you a filing receipt letting you know that we did receive your application and it is being processed. We just started sending filing receipts March of this year. Once you receive your application, it is on hold in our office for 30 days awaiting a recommendation from the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security may request a 30-day extension of time in which to conduct an investigation or get other relevant information regarding the applicant. If the Department of Homeland Security provides an unfavorable recommendation, the organization does have 30 days to respond and may also request an extension. The basic timeline of an application from receipt to decision is your application is received between day 1 and day 30. Between day 30 and day 60, an application is reviewed by an attorney. And between day 60 and 90, the board renders a decision. However, things could occur that shorten or elongate the time in which an application is being reviewed and decided. Some things that do take longer are if we receive an unfavorable response from the Department of Homeland Security or if we receive an extension request. Also, in order to get your application on the fast track, we recommend that you call the Department of Homeland Security offices and ask for a recommendation. That way you can submit your application with the recommendation and we don't necessarily have to hold it for 30 days. I spoke about what is recognition and accreditation, the qualifications, and how to apply. The following are important elements to remember with the application process. Recognition is submitted on a Form 31 with supporting documentation. There is a complete and separate recognition application for each branch location. For example, if you have a main office that you would like to have recognized, and you also have other locations and you want them recognized as well, we need separate applications for each office. There is currently no formal application for accreditation. However, a form will be coming soon. All applications must include proof of service on USCIS and ICE. Once your organization becomes recognized, you must notify us of any changes. Changes consist of your organization name changed, your address or telephone number changed, the representative's name changed, the representative no longer works at the organization, the recognized organization no longer provides services, or the organization no longer meets the definition of a recognized organization. This is also extremely important because your information, once you're recognized, is posted on our roster, which is located on our intranet. So people will be able to view the information on the internet, so it's important to have the information correct. Some valuable resources for you are our website. On our website, we have an overview of the RNA process. We have FAQs. The FAQs have 90 questions that are identified by accreditation, recognition, and renewal. We do have BIA president decisions addressing training, nominal charges, and supervision. We have the Form 31, and we also have our RNA email address. Also included on our website is our phone number and our mailing address. I would like for all of you to know that most of our information presented to you today is available on our website. So we strongly urge you to review our website, ask us questions, and provide your comments to us.
Thank you, Christina. That concludes the presentation that provided the overview of the RNA process here at the clerk's office, and we're now ready for questions. If anyone has a question, please contact the meeting manager. Star 1, I believe, is the way to access the queue.
Yes, if you would like to ask a question over the phone lines, press star 1 and record your first and last name clearly at the prompt so that I may introduce your question. If you choose to withdraw your question, press star 2. Again, star 1. Please be sure that your line is unmuted and then record your first and last name at the prompt. One moment. We do have questions coming in. Okay. Our first question comes from Ornitza Abbas.
Hi, my question is about the fully accredited representatives. You said there are 1,400 accredited reps. How many of those are fully accredited versus partially? You said majority partial, but I was wondering if you knew the exact number.
Currently, I do not know the exact number, but a majority of them are partially accredited. So there's not that many fully accredited representatives currently.
Like fewer than 30?
I don't have an exact number.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question comes from Christine Burton.
Yes, I had two questions. If an agency has to make changes, name change, address change, change in staffing or something, is there an expected time frame that we would either get a response from the BIA or we'd see a change on the website?
Sure. So once you submit a change to us, if we have any questions, we do notify you. If we don't, if we don't notify you, obviously we don't have any questions. So you can always call our office to make sure that we receive the correspondence from you. As soon as we do get it, we do update our system, which reflects on the roster.
Okay, because my agency submitted some stuff back in January, and the roster is still not accurate. So.
Oh. Just, if you can, just email me at
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question comes from Sarah Oshiro.
Hi, yes. I have two questions as well. Is there any advantage in terms of expediting matters to submit an application for an organization's recognition and that organization's staff accreditation together at the same time versus doing it as a two-part process?
It's the same time frame if you submit them together versus separately. It doesn't change the time frame at all.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Well, I mean, I guess, you know, if we're saying on average it's a 90-day process, if you submit both applications together or applications for both of those elements together at the same time, could they both be adjudicated simultaneously?
Yes.
Okay, so then it seems like it would actually help to do it together.
Yes.
And thank you. And my second question is, I work at the Immigrant Justice Corps where we have a lot of fellows who are going to be college graduates starting at the same time in September of this year, and they're going to go through a rigorous month-long training program with our organization before getting deployed to work at host organizations in New York City. And the Immigrant Justice Corps is not yet recognized. I'd like to apply for our recognition together with the accreditation of our fellows together at the same time. But my question is if I were to apply over the summer, can the training that I put forward in the application be a prospective training plan if we already have the curriculum designed, or does the training have to have actually occurred already at the time of submitting the application?
The training has to have occurred when you submit the application.
Okay.
Part of the qualifications is having training. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I mean, essentially it would knock out the possibility of trying to get my fellows accredited before they actually sit through the training. Even if I have the curriculum already, I would have to wait until they're already trained.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That does answer my question.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question comes from Elisa Thomas.
Hello. My question has to do with the 800 organizations that you have. Are any of them law firms that they have an accredited rep to do the pro bono section of their firm? Is that a viable structure to have? Hello?
Hi, this is Cynthia Crosby. Actually, the structure of a law firm automatically does not meet the criteria for a recognized organization. So to answer your question, no, we do not currently have any law firms as a recognized organization.
So how do you guys look upon, say, a law firm setting up a 501c, nonprofit organization to deal with the pro bono work?
I mean, as long as that 501c3 met the criteria, the remaining criteria for a recognized organization, we would absolutely entertain the application.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One moment. It looks like we do have another question coming in. It looks like they decided to withdraw their question. There are no other questions in the queue at this time.
Hi, this is Lou again. Thank you all for participating today. We try to get these webinars going once a quarter. There will be an audio transcript posted and more information in the future.
Excuse me, we do have another question coming in from Christine Burton.
But I was just wondering, if for some reason a lapse occurs in someone's accreditation for various factors, what happens during the interim while that, is the accreditation backdated, or is it just restarted at the point, or since they don't file within that 60 days, or?
Right. As long as you submit your renewal application within the 60 days of your expiration date, there will not be a lapse in accreditation.
Okay. So it's simply within the 60 days. It's not like 60 days is the last point where there won't be a lapse?
As long as it's within the 60 days, there will not be a lapse.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from James Smith.
Yes. How you doing? 2 questions. How could I get more training for my staff before we seek for recommendation?
So you can get more training through the American Bar Association, through other nonprofit organizations or other recognized organizations.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next question comes from Adelmo Enamorado.
Yes, good afternoon. Would you guys consider an organization that is not currently 501c3 or that is awaiting approval?
No, you must have the 501c status.
Okay.
In order to qualify for recognition.
Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Debbie Elliott.
Okay. The question is, you stated that the staff has to be working under the supervision of an attorney or an accredited representative. So we want to know if the attorney is an immigration attorney or any attorney.
So the board does have more confidence if it is an immigration attorney, but the board wants to see that the organization is knowledgeable and can provide knowledgeable representation. Does that help answer your question?
Not really.
So the board wants to see that you have adequate supervision through an attorney or an accredited representative. So the board does have more confidence if the attorney is an immigration attorney.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Rolanda Cobadia.
Hi, do you have a list of organizations that could provide training in New Jersey?
Unfortunately, we do not have a list, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
The next question comes from Ornitza Abbas.
Sorry, 2 questions. One, in terms of the application staff resumes, do you only require the person who's seeking accreditation, or would it be helpful to also see the resumes of other staff members, including the supervisor, to provide an overview of the program?
It would be helpful to the board to provide resumes from everyone that works in your organization that is related to the program that you will be providing immigration services.
Okay.
So that the board can see how it's structured.
Okay. And my other question was, a lot of nonprofit organizations have workshops or clinics off-site. So, for example, DACA Renewal or NATS or something like that. As a BIA accredited rep from X organization, if you are partnering with somebody else and they are physically hosting the workshop because they have the money, they have the computers, they have the printers or what have you, is the BIA accredited rep, like say from Catholic Charities, allowed to go to, I don't know, the Walmart or whatever organization is hosting the workshop to sign G28s at that location? Because I know there's a whole, you have to get each site physically recognized, but this isn't really a site. It's just an extension of what the BIA rep is doing. It just doesn't happen to be at the office. It's off-site to be more convenient to low-income clients.
So
Does that make sense? Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's type of scenario would be evaluated during the review process, but if you could just send me an email.
Well, it wouldn't be the BIA rep, the person seeking accreditation, it wouldn't be for a roaming purpose. It would be, seeking accreditation as part of this recognized organization, so there's that. They can practice in their office, but if a workshop comes up over the course of working at this organization, are they allowed to basically run that workshop, or do they have to send somebody else in their office who's an immigration attorney to run that?
I'd have to research that and get back to you.
Okay.
So if you could send me that question to the PAO email box.
The r-a.info one?
You can do that as well.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Maria Caba.
Hi, good afternoon. I have a question. If we have an organization that has only a staff of 2, and the attorney is one of the staff members, and then the other staff member wants to get accredited, do you see, would that be an issue, or are you more willing to recognize an organization that has, a bigger amount of staff on board? Can you just give me a little feedback on what are your thoughts?
So there's nothing precluding you from applying for recognition and accreditation. The board does review the applications to see how much experience and knowledgeable representation that the organization does have. So you can still apply.
So a staff of 2 would definitely not be grounds to be denied.
I'm unable to answer that question because that's a specific scenario, but you may certainly apply for recognition and accreditation, and the board would review your application.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Sarah Oshiro.
Hi, sorry to ask another question, but these are some basic things. Is the PowerPoint presentation going to be available for download, or will it be emailed to the participants today?
It won't be available today, but it will be downloaded and posted on the website.
Shortly, that is, I guess?
Right, in the near future, as soon as we get it done.
Okay, thank you. And also, if we have sort of a more complicated follow-up question that we don't want to subject everyone to listening to, is there, can we do direct follow-up with Christina, and is there a phone number we can reach her at? How can we do sort of directed follow-up?
Sure. So you can call our office. Our phone number is 703-305-9029.
Okay.
And you can ask to speak with me, and I would be happy to answer your question.
Okay. Thank you, Christina.
No problem.
For all of the listeners, I also wanted to let you know that we can be reached at PAO, as in Public Affairs Office, .EOIR@usdoj.gov.
There are no other questions in the queue at this time.
Okay, I think that's all we have for today. If there are no other questions, thank you all for participating.